for that.
That was Gavin.
Where's Gavin?
I'm right here.
Hey, dude.
Hello.
I had a seal on my microphone that was kind of
Yeah.
tormented at Brian's house.
What's Sifl?
That I ripped right through. So I talked into his head and he basically...
Yeah.
Oh, the monkey's hanging on. It's got feathers, though. That's a good start. Oh, wow. Thank you, everybody,
Yeah, this
for
is
coming.
absolutely
It's,
Where did everyone come from? I mean, since you're just here.
New York.
Washington State.
Chicago.
Wait. Okay,
Let's go around the room.
Yeah, I want to figure out, like,
Can you organize my zip code?
That's how we take it.
Yeah.
So, you guys came from New York?
Mm-hmm.
Who is everyone?
I'm working.
Yeah, good to meet everybody. Good to meet you.
I'm her husband.
Okay. Where are you guys from in New York?
Brooklyn. Yeah, the great state of Brooklyn. I know about you people. I make them.
Yes, I grew up on Long Island, actually. Until I was 9, then I moved to Ohio.
Oh.
Right up the street from William. And you guys are from New York?
Go to Texas.
From Texas? All right,
There's
Texas.
a lot of Sifl and Olly fans in Texas. I get so much email from Texas, like more than I think any state. And Arizona, like Texas and Arizona.
In Atlantis.
I think we did a lot of newspaper articles for Texas history.
Yeah.
And I think that's why more people find out about it. And it's a big state. And it's big.
I know you people in the back are having a hard time hearing.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
yeah, you can...
We'll have to tack up then.
All right, then.
Okay, maybe we should microphone it.
Speak into the mic.
All right, let's speak in the mic.
That's really awesome.
So anyway, well, let's just keep going, man. And then you guys are from
That's a nice camera.
Washington, D.C.? Awesome. You guys drove down here? And you're...
Easy son.
Hey.
Okay, we're gonna take dude off. I feel like I'm talking to him and not you. What's your name? This is absolutely one of the funniest faces I've ever seen in my life.
So anyways, so you guys are from D.C. and
Put it
you're...
on if you want.
Can you and
I'll start talking to this.
Do you want another mic?
sure.
So then, wow, now there's a microphone involved. That's much better.
And you got
So you guys are from Washington, and you are who?
Sean.
Sean and
Janice.
Janice? Excellent. We all know all about you already.
She was at CD Street.
Yes.
That sells our CDs.
Courtney is from Texas too, right?
Oh,
From
check.
right, okay.
Danny Thomas, check.
So who? And then Jen is from Chicago, who we've met, and Peter, yeah, is from.
Washington, D.C. area.
Right on. Is this on?
I think.
Did you
I
carpool?
think it is. How did you get here? Jive or?
I drove down from Philadelphia and I met him, and we're driving to Memphis after this.
Oh, cool.
Road trip.
Are you gonna go to Graceland?
Yes.
Right on.
Oh, yeah.
The carpet's awesome.
Is this on?
Graceland.
Turn it up a little bit. Carpet. Does it have
It really is. Ellis had awesome carpet. It was thick and bright, and always out of place. It was great.
Just like his aura.
Yeah, he put it.
He had a thick aura.
So okay, so going back,
Travis, I'm from Louisville.
Travis.
Oh, right on. My parents are from
This is
Louisville.
the Louisville contingency sitting right here.
Okay, representing the Louisville.
And Michael.
Is it on?
We're gonna try to get it towards.
Is there another mic?
Don't know.
Check this out.
I should.
Hey. Hello. Yes.
Okay, and so Louisville's a nice place. There's more seating in restaurants there than there are people. Good restaurant.
And Disney World, I mean Disneyland could fit in Disney World's parking lot.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think that came from the same book of facts. Anyways. So then we go back to
Okay, I'm Gina, and this is
Sarah.
and we're both from Arizona.
Woo! You know, we said hi to the University of Arizona in one of Chester episodes. One of the letters was from University of Arizona because there's so many Arizona fans, and we're like, we kept getting all these. I was getting, yeah. I got all these emails from.
Alright, down the mic noise should stop.
I got all these. Can't do that, dude. I got all these emails from people at University of Arizona?
Yeah, University.
Arizona, and they were making like Sifl drinking games. Like anytime someone says, dude, you gotta drink. And they were all wasted.
Yeah, they only saw like 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah. I love that theme song. But and so we were big fans of Arizona, and then we just drove across country, and
Their Flagstaff.
through Flagstaff.
It's very nice.
And
Especially this time of year.
I enjoyed Arizona more than any of the other parts because it looked like I was driving on Mars. And I pretended that I was a sojourner. But Matt was asleep.
And how did you travel? I hope somebody says canoe. That's not really...
On the ground.
And it was our first time ever flying, so.
Wow! How was it? How was it?
Did you crash?
I really like the turbulence.
The whole thing was still up in the air.
Did you fly Southwest?
Ah. You don't get the meal on Southwest. But Americans get.
Sometimes you get singing flight attendants, and they do. Have you been on a Southwest trip and your flight attendant is really
I got a comedian one.
extra filled with energy and starts doing?
Really?
Yeah.
Never.
That's great.
Okay.
Over here, Lynn.
Oh.
Back here.
Oh. These people are from Dayton. Tell everyone your names and say hello.
Yes, my name is Tegan, and this is my brother Cole, and that's our dad, Criswell, and we came in from Dayton.
Ohio, our place where we were raised. Although Mike was raised in Louisville. Yes. But we were raised in Ohio. What? Derek.
Oh, hi.
San Jose.
More
Do
Cali
you want me to
people.
film you saying that? Because we can film it.
That's a bitchin' camera. It's a good camera. It is. That's it. I'd get one of those.
And I'm sure everyone's met Allison already.
Allison. It was really,
Yeah,
totally
big props. for
built
us.
the house to rock. We're over here now.
We're to the front. Wow, we're there.
St. Louis.
Awesome.
Yeah.
the
What's it
arch.
like?
I think
The arch. You have?
Yeah.
It's a good arch.
It's one of the best.
Yeah.
It really is.
Famous. Next to McDonald's. How was your travels?
It's great.
Did you drive?
Still the wagon, actually.
Excellent. Stay
Yeah.
That's driving.
That's really driving.
What did you listen to on the way down?
Well, actually, we listened to some Sifl and Olly sounds
Right on.
and David Byrne. Yes.
Which one?
New one?
Feelings. Feelings is the
Last
previous album.
Ah.
Yes. Equally matched to the new one.
Yeah.
When I was on my 13th birthday, my sister took me to Talking Heads Stop Making Sense tour, and I had front row center, and I was very tiny. I'm still kind of tiny, but I was literally right here, and he had the big suit, and I was right here at the base of the mic stand for the whole show, and his sweat fell on me.
I got his towel.
You did?
But he hadn't sweat on.
You had more sweat
So you
samples
had
than
pretty
I
good
did
seats.
then. David Byrne's awesome. What people pull in? Okay, next row.
Waukegan, Illinois.
Wow! places. How did you get here?
We drove. He's
Right
my
on.
brother.
Oh, right
We're
on.
both from-
Is he your brother? Are you his? Is he your brother?
As well, yeah.
Okay.
It works out well that way.
Who's older?
Lucky.
Right on. Excellent. How was it?
Drive?
Yeah.
Being brother.
Long.
Was it?
I
What did you?
Yeah, so.
You have it?
When did you guys leave?
2 a.m.
Did you stop?
Wow.
Did you stop to eat?
Did you feel like you were going on
We
vacation?
stopped and had a bag of Doritos.
Oh no!
It's not a very good deal.
There's
Taco
some food
Bell.
coming. There's coffee in the back.
And it makes the car smell like
Those were hard to
Doritos.
read.
Yeah, that was.
I heard that Doritos were made to taste like feet smell. I heard that it was based on the smell of feet.
Because of everyone's desire to smell their own feet.
It might be attractive to some people. No, I honestly heard that, and I know it's not true, but I did hear that. It was.
Were you awake?
I'm from Chicago.
Yeah, we're from Chicago.
We're from
we drove
Chicago.
together.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
More Chicagoans.
Yeah.
And you drove? Did you swim?
Yeah.
Yeah, we drove and we swam.
What did you listen to on the way?
We listened to Yes, York,
Yeah.
Pizzicato 5. And,
Oh, yeah.
And
That was at my sister's wedding.
Which Yes album?
it was a mix of Close to the Edge and Fragile. Yeah, Fragile.
Nice choice.
I'm glad you
They compliment another.
Did anybody listen to Rush's 2112 on the way here?
Yeah.
That's
Great album. That was gonna happen.
weird. Okay, and others in row 4.
I'm from Davis, California.
Where's
And I'm-
Davis?
It's by Sacramento.
Right on.
Capital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bradford.
Right.
To the Bradford.
From Avis Mountain? Did you know that? The 8 is enough was supposed to be from your town?
Wait, I live in Davis though.
Oh.
Not at the capital.
We just want you to be from Sacramento.
And I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Another Ohioan.
Ohioan.
And you get all the
Moscow.
interesting things at McDonald's because it's where they test. Because Columbus, Ohio there's an equal amount of different type of people. So restaurants and big, yeah, there's like a, age groups and nationalities and everything is very equalized. So they do market research in Columbus. So when I was in college, when I went to Kent State University, my girlfriend was from Columbus, and so I would go down there on weekends, and I'd go to McDonald's and they had pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, they did have that for a while.
I'd like a big slice, please. Go to Wendy's and get a hot dog.
They had McLobster in Maine, and it was like it was actually pressed like a little lobster. I mean, it's kind of like the McRib that has the bones, the shape of the bones,
But it's not a bone.
It's meat bone. It's not even ribs.
Do you hear about the Kentucky Fried Chicken stuff, where they that they have a place that's like the Matrix, where they grow chickens that don't have any features. They don't have heads or feet.
The story goes that when Kentucky Fried Chicken advertises themselves, they never say chicken. It's just KFC.
Yeah.
So there's a really
It's
good
Kentucky Fried
urban myth
concoction.
that the chickens they use to feed everyone didn't have like feet
Yeah, like
or
robots.
hands or So we kind of had a matrix.
But could you imagine just a field of these things that are just chicken lumps?
I heard that they had to call them product number 12.
Yes,
Yes.
it's chicken product. But they all are alive, but they have no sensors. Oh god.
I guess we can move on. We can talk about Cresvention for a while.
It's an interesting topic though. I mean,
And my brother went to Ohio State.
in Columbus.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of our friends went to Ohio State.
A lot of friends go there.
Uh-huh.
It's a big, big school. Okay, anyways.
Next.
I'm Amanda. I'm from a little bit north of Atlanta.
Right on. So you probably get it close.
Stone
from
Mountain.
Gwinnett County.
Close.
Are you near the point where you can look out at 5 different states at once? Ruby Falls is.
I've been
Yeah,
there.
Lookout Mountain.
Is that?
Lookout.
Lookout Mountain.
So you drove up.
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
That's
That's
cool.
not bad.
She's the one that did Up in the Cabinets on the tribute CD.
Oh,
Alright.
nice. We listened to that just yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're
next,
big fans of it.
next row.
I'm Heather, and this is Shannon, and we're from Sandusky, Ohio.
Yeah.
Cedar Point.
Cedar Point.
Yeah, Cedar Point is.
Yeah, we
Nice
know.
roller coasters.
So you guys are right. I mean, I've been into Elyria and Vermilion, and then Sandusky's next. And
Vermilion.
remember Vermilion?
The band?
That's
That's
Moreland.
Marillion.
Awesome.
So how's Sandusky?
What?
How's
How is it?
Sandusky?
Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It's really tiny, and there's just a ton of tourists.
But did you go on the new blue roller coaster at Cedar Point?
The Millennium
Yes.
Force thing? No. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
You need
It's,
to.
Is
you need
it
to
changes,
go home
it
and go.
redefines roller coasters. I mean, I thought the Magnum was great, and then
My dad and I did Demon Drop. Demon Drop? Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
God. You know what it's like? It's like being dropped.
by a big demon.
It's like a demon.
Hot fingers.
It's like a demon picking you up. And then, okay, the demon is 10 stories tall.
Does it laugh when you fall?
Oh God.
The
And
what?
you can't breathe.
They added sound effects, and now he laughs at you.
Yes.
I just never went out because I mean, I'll go on any roller coaster, but I was always sure that it was just going to go and just keep going out. And then it just comes down like this. And
go. Oh, that's
and actually,
right, yeah.
one of those
And then you-
did do that
stops.
at some amusement park somewhere. It just kept going and went right,
It went
into
right
the
off.
gift shop.
That's an incredible ride. I would like to see the pictures in the gift shop of the people like glass stuck in their head and they're like flying through the gift shop. Oh, masked one.
How's it going?
Good.
I'm from Atlanta. I got a ride with her.
And what are your superpowers, my friend?
My superhero name is I'm the tapeworm of justice.
That's nice.
And I lodge myself in the evildoer's stomach and eat all their food so they starve to death.
Sweet and
Yes.
slow.
Yes. Yes. And I can squeeze myself in their intestines. It's awesome.
That's hot. No pun intended.
It's a good skill.
That's over like 60 yards of intestines, or some phenomenal amount of intestines that if you
And
hold
people,
them all out of
is
your
your
body.
weakness like kryptonite, like just a piece of pie? Somebody holds it near the person's
No, I
mouth
think
and
it's
it'll lure you out, like, must resist pie.
It's Pepto-Bismol or Rolaids.
No!
There's dog pills. Yeah.
Who knew?
Next row.
There's Mary Beth. Hello.
Hi,
Hey.
my name is Erin Evans, and I'm from Delaware County, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
home of.
Where's that by?
It's like kind of Philly-ish.
Oh,
Okay.
right on.
Philly.
We just were in the Philly airport just days ago. And we went to Rhode Island last weekend. My parents are from Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh.
You lived in Pennsylvania for 10 weeks.
I was a concoction of sperm and an egg, probably.
That you lived in Bethlehem.
Oh, I did live in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he did.
Like
He
Jesus.
moved.
I thought you meant like when I
Bethlehem.
was conceived. Like I was conceived in Pennsylvania and then we moved to Ohio or something.
Okay.
Maybe I was eating eggs. I don't know. Welcome. Did you fly or drive?
I flew and I listened to David Byrne on the way down.
Which albums?
Strange
Welcome to the
coincidences. It's kind of spooky, man.
Did you flew down?
Yeah, with Mary Beth.
And when they told you to turn off all electronic devices, do you still try to get a couple minutes out of your tune? You're like, but surely my
the
CD
flight
man
was so
can't.
short. that like as soon as I told you you could turn on your electronic devices, you turn it off again.
And turn it off.
See, it's bad. They didn't used to do that with, and I'd always like have a certain CD or song on when you're taking off because you're like, yeah, or taking off, or landing. Is
Like
but now, Take Off by Bob and Doug.
The Great White North.
When I was flying to Canada, of course.
Wow.
Well, awesome. So now we're back on road 7.
I'm Lily.
Hi, Lily.
I'm from Maryland, near DC.
Excellent.
Brian Hardin's from Maryland.
Our
Really?
best friend who did we recorded all the Sifl and Olly audio in his kitchen.
Wow.
And
then went downstairs.
Oh, not in Maryland,
in
in Nashville.
But he's from
He grew
Maryland.
up in Maryland though until he went to college in Nashville. And actually, we had Brian not moved to Los Angeles, we had all gone over to his house.
We probably would have all been at his house right now.
That's what the
He would. Brian's he's
Except he
actually
probably
in some
would've,
ways
like,
Brian's
cut
the
all of your
fourth guy
hair
who
or
should
something.
almost be there because the three of us did it all. But Brian had this house where he has and these instruments that we use. He was the owner of most of them and like the weirdest toys and.
His skill is like capturing things, like spontaneously being ready for anything to happen, you know?
And
Like, you go to lean down, you're tired, you go to lean down, and you slide a Casio under your arm, and then you hit a note that starts a beat, and you're like, what did I do?
Or he'll make an instrument, you know, we're like, what we need is we need a cake. Matt needs to play drums on a cake. He's like, I'll bake one.
You'd be like, I don't care.
Give me 30 minutes.
And he recorded us once with like, wasn't it like a shoebox and a paper clip? Like he'll build things, he's like MacGyver.
Yeah, he's a great engineer,
And he
audio
doesn't already
engineer.
get stuff.
But he's
He'll, like,
also this insane, non-stop, the great enablers we call him. 'Cause we're like, you know, this would be really funny if we had a triangle.
Yeah. He's like, hey, look what I found in my underwear drawer. The trombone. And he's like, can you guys? He's like, here, play trombone. I can play trombone. We're rolling. I actually played the trombone in the theme song. It's just like, I don't know how to play trombone. Unbelievable. Next.
I'm Mary Beth. I'm from the Philadelphia area.
Hello. We've met on webcams
Yes,
before.
webcam. Startown.
Starting.
As you were.
Yeah.
And I was a bunny.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I wore bunny ears.
That's right.
I want to thank you again for doing that. That was very cool.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
It was cyber great.
It was. Even though we got connected like every other second and
Yeah.
everybody couldn't stay together.
I know, it's still not right.
It was pretty rock though. For
It was,
the most
we were
part.
nerds, that was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It was good. That was really funny and weird too.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
And you also deserve some serious props too, because
Yeah.
you put a lot of energy.
One of the founding mothers. That's not mothers short for mofo, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And then these two crazies came from California. Tell everybody your names.
Yvette.
What?
Yvette and April.
There and
From the Sacramento area
No,
as well?
San Francisco.
Oh,
San Francisco.
well, San Francisco is kind of the Sacramento area.
Or vice.
How would it is? Hour away?
About probably like 45 minutes.
What, even less?
Is it near like Santa Rosa?
Yeah.
Where?
You know where San Rafael is?
What?
You know where San Rafael is?
Santa Cruz? Near Santa Cruz?
That's south.
Have you been to the Redwood Forest? No. Is it close?
It's cool.
enough?
I've been there.
I've been there. Did you drive through the tree?
No. I went in a tree though. They had a big tree you could stand in.
Did you nap?
Yes. I sang the elf song. Excellent. Well, thank you. You guys People came from so far away. It's amazing.
Well, we love you so much.
Oh, I thank you. This is incredible. And then,
I'm Jennifer. I came from Arkansas.
awesome. And Ramon's here.
Ramon, sure. Rick Ramon on the left.
Where in Arkansas?
Caney Springs, it's right near Bentonville, Fayetteville, home of Walmart.
All right. Do you know in Walmart, if you have an RV, you can like stay in Walmart as long as you want.
Really?
Yeah, you can live there in
You
the
meet
parking
the
lot of Walmart.
demographic.
So my friend has
Did he let you?
drove all,
You meet the
sold all his stuff
demographic.
and
Drive
bought an
around
RV
the
and stays in Walmarts
And
everywhere.
you're allowed to stay
It's a
camp.
great thing they do for those people.
How long?
I can't believe that.
How long does it take to drive where you're at? It's just straight up 40.
We drove right through.
We drove right through Arkansas.
Actually, I drove halfway and flew halfway. Drove to Tulsa.
Where's the car?
There.
Park and fly.
No, I actually had a ride.
Oh, cool. Right on. Thank you for coming all this way.
Wasn't that fun?
And, oh, hello.
Hi.
Hey. Introduce yourselves.
Jenny, Peter from Cresvention, Florida.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I don't know much about Florida except we went to Epcot. What do you know about his
I know
Papa
all.
Bill lives there.
Yeah, my Papa Bill who takes pictures of himself when he gets hurt, you know.
He's got photo albums of any time he's made blood come out of himself.
Well, only the serious. He's like one of the. He always has German Shepherd. And mind you, this is my grandfather. Now he's going to be 80. But as I was growing up, he was like always just really big. And always had a white T-shirt and shorts on. And he worked from like 3 in the morning till 10 a.m. because he like built airplane engines. But we were always fascinated with these pictures he would take because he would, you know, working in an industrial place like that, he'd get huge gashes and take a picture of it. Like, this is great. Take a picture of this. God, I'm gonna blow this up. Yeah, he's.
And he has German Shepherds and he feeds them steak.
Yeah, he used to. He doesn't have any more shepherds. He's kind of. They have a small dog now.
They shrunk.
So okay, and to the back. So we're to the back row, and we missed.
Wait, we missed the camera.
Cameraman there.
Oh, hi. I'm Dustin. I'm from Chicago. I go to school in Chicago, but I live in Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Oh, right on.
Which is about 5 hours south of Chicago, 4 hours from here.
Oh, right on.
Have you met all the other Chicago people?
No, but I know their emails. I know. I got
Yeah, it's like dealing with screen names and
Yeah.
real names.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Actually, I haven't even joined the list. I just recently found out you guys were having this convention.
Did you find it out on the site, on our site?
Totally, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
See, I'd go every month or so just to check up to see if anything was happening. And
Yeah,
I just
right on.
happened to walk in and I about, blew chunks when I saw it.
All over the screen, you're like, damn it! Right when your parents walk in, what's going on here? Thanks for coming, dude.
Cool. Thanks for showing up.
Oh, sure. And we, Dr. Funk, everybody's met you.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Some props for putting together an awesome tribute album.
Yeah.
I can't even believe the songs on that. We're just amazed with that.
It totally blew me away. And the weirdest thing that ever happened to me in my whole life was that I was in my car with my friend Lauren, and I'm like, oh my god, there's Jimmy's CD, you gotta hear this, oh my god. And I put it in, and I didn't know that she did a song on the CD. She was a sockhead, and I didn't even know it. I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, you've got to hear these girls' voices. And I put it in, and it was this, I've got a girl, and she's got a daisy. It was the funniest voices of Can't Say Side Up. And she's just sitting there looking at me like, she goes, that's me, right? The other ones were your mom and dad and your friends. Just like, that was so weird. But I loved it. We love that album so much. Way in the back!
Christy, also known as Pirate Crippler.
Ah!
My husband Chris, and we
Hi.
drove 10.5 hours from Baton Rouge.
Wow!
That's awesome.
Incredible.
Barely caught us today. The rain barely caught us.
So you could have the windows down.
And my eyes been twitching all day. What the hell causes that?
Your eyes are twitching?
Twitching. You know, either muscle twitches?
Maybe allergies here?
I don't know.
Allergies are bad.
I used to work at at a deli where you'd slice lunch meat, you know? At Acme, I don't know if anyone's from Dayton. And you guys know Acme, it's an Ohio grocery store. Anyways, every once in a while, you know, you had this blade spinning at 100 miles per hour, and every once in a while, a little piece of meat or cheese would go doink, you know, right there. And it was really the worst.
That's what your problem is.
So, I developed this, you know, little twitch in my eye. It went away, I'm happy to say, but it might be based on some reaction.
It's a meat twitch. It's a meat twitch.
It could be a cheese twitch.
It's your fear of a small chunk of cheese. What?
I said there's no telling what happened between the 2 hours I was sleeping last night.
Oh, that's probably part of it.
Did you guys speed?
A little bit, but don't tell.
Okay.
We're all cops.
What did you listen to on the way?
Oh gosh, a whole bunch of mixed CDs that I made. Like.
Did you make special road CDs?
Yes.
Cool.
Driving music.
Oh, that's good.
What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Oh no. Right on. Cool. More people?
Yeah, some other people have walked in, and we're all
All the way back.
excellent.
All
Okay.
right. You got it. Information, please.
This man with the camera.
I'm Paul Petronic. I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Right on. That's a far trek.
I was on the same video conference.
Oh, right on. Oh, sure, dude. How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Good.
You got another one, man.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's fun, and you feel so futuristic.
It's cyber.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Cool.
two here.
Yeah, I'm Crystal. I'm Lacey. I'm from Boston. I'm from Boston.
You guys took the bus.
We took the 30 hours.
Holy crap.
Wow.
She's also Sockhead number 1,000, right? 1,000. That's some insane crap. I mean, Lord. And was it a Greyhound bus?
It was a Greyhound bus.
Did you leave last week?
Weird people on the bus?
Yeah, there was some guys just like talking to himself. It's like,
Man, I've had some Greyhound experiences that were bad.
Yeah,
I got stuck in
experience with actual
Chicago when I was
dogs.
13.
the statistics say that 1 out of every 10 Greyhound passengers is armed.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe it.
Have a great drive home, girls.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Paul all the way in the back. Dennis over here and Chris. They all haven't said where they're from.
Say where you're from.
Say.
Hingham, Massachusetts.
Yay! We like Massachusetts.
How did you get here?
Plane to St. Louis and then plane to here.
Right on. Did you listen to music on the plane? What did you listen to?
We have another mixtape.
Really?
Yeah,
It's popular this
stuff
time
I
of
just
year.
taped
I
off
love that
college
guy.
stations. Stuff I taped off of college stations, you know, all sorts of random stuff thrown together.
Oh, cool. We used to do that with videos when we were little kids. Our favorite TV show was these tapes we would make where you have to edit television as if it were a show. So you try to change the channels right at the point and hope that the next channel you change to is going to finish the sentence of the person.
Yeah.
Woo! Make these shows, these video tapes.
We had some brilliant ones,
Oh
because
my
you get lucky when you do it enough.
Yeah. And you change stations and you try to edit it like as if you're going like camera 2, camera, you know, like try to cut, but it's totally different shows and you get these monster shows. Incredible. Do you guys want to?
Me? What?
Yeah.
I'm Paul. I'm Paul Caparino. I'm Allison Hindermeier's husband here. We live in Chicago. Yes, and actually I was introduced to Sifl and Olly by that man over there with the glasses sitting down, Dennis Fogg. We didn't even have cable at the time. He says, oh, there's a Sockhead show on TV. This is like, yeah. You know, anyway, he brings over a tape, makes us watch it, and And I think the first thing I really remembered was when Sifl was being cloned.
Oh, Lord.
And that's one beat old.
Talkie. Circus.
Yeah, he's in my band too. We're in a band called Moto, and we're on the tribute CD. We did She's a Carrot.
Hey, very good one. Very especially because it comes on right as your count is like 1, 2, 3, 4. Carrots are my favorite vegetable. Yeah, that was excellent. Excellent. Well, cool. Is that everybody? Has anybody not?
Did everybody meet Mr. and Mrs. Olly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Woo! More props to them too.
Rock.
Brad.
We'll have some pizza.
So do you want to do, are we gonna come back here and eat it? And go over there and get
No,
it?
we're gonna eat over there.
Okay.
No, we have to eat over there.
I can bring my boombox so we can have some music.
Yeah, or we can just talk to everyone too. I mean, I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
Before everybody gets up, can I do what I
Yes.
very cute.
Oh yeah, that. Woo!
You're afraid.
Oh, they're gonna do something embarrassing.
Baby picture.
You are going to kill me. This is so wonderful. It's just him.
Oh, it's just me.
This predates you.
Liam, I think we should hide.
Did you already play for them?
No, I told him earlier that I had it.
What is it? A cassette tape could be anything for me.
You were 4 years old.
Oh.
And you wrote your first dirty song. You actually plagiarized, but you came up with your own dirty lyrics. And I just thought...
I'm sorry.
I just put it in there, but it looks like it's,
Okay, put it in there. This way? We went this side up. This side up way, yeah.
Bring it out.
Is that the right spot?
Dad was the techie on this one. I hope it
Is your volume?
is. 4 years old.
Is your
Yeah, well,
volume
crank the volume up.
turned up?
No, that's not it. Never mind.
I was pretty.
Where is it?
I was pretty talented.
All right, try the
Thanks,
other
Mom, for
side.
proving how talented I am. Martini glass.
The thing producer.
I'm the thing
Producer.
The magic hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 o'clock, clock. 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, clock. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock, clock. Let's go. Dig down the road. Blowing off our clothes.
Throwing off our clothes.
Down on feet, slam down on boat. And the nose, and the bone in our nose. Ho, ho. Something's coming out my ear.
This is the dirty part.
Going like come out my nose. Head's coming out my ears. Head's coming out my ears. And big boobies coming out my mouth.
I don't know. Big boobies coming out of my mouth.
That's actually a pretty good song.
So it started young.
I reworked it later and it was called Cherry. She's my cherry pie. What's that cool tree thing over there?
Everyone suddenly starts videotaping the tree.
Everybody was recording and putting the tape in. We're like, you gotta document the tape.
Yeah.
They saw something. Let's look at it.
So shall we go get some za? Is it? We're both like way over the grapes. We're like grapes.
oh my gosh.
Are they Gucci?
Versace.
Yeah, Versace.
Exit signs Dolce & Gabbana.
Ah, sweet. So is it pizza time? Everybody? Still, but on the ends, there's just little cartoons, like, on the ends of the strobe light, and it was awesome.
Dude, that's what I was trying to do, but I don't have the so it's really hard to do this.
We could actually probably set it up.
So,
we'd have some sort of a
the pizza was awesome. Come on. The company was really the best part. Hey! He meant me.
So, thanks. See you guys. We gotta be somewhere for this other thing we do.
That'd be hard with us at your hackles.
It's called AA. No. Yeah, somebody stands up and walks out. Oh, I'm wrong.
Excuse me.
So what do we want to do? Does this work? Okay. Do we want to do a T&A? Anybody have any questions? I mean a Q&A.
Yeah, so, no. Basically, they don't care.
Yes, you in the third row.
Wait, can I come down and like...
Oh yeah.
I would love that.
You're gonna run into
Let's go.
real serious.
Maybe for safety reasons, I should just stay in my seat.
So anyway, William, I was just in the middle of dinner. I was going to ask you. I was going to save the Peter and Fleck question for later. Just what the hell's up with Peter and Fleck? Can you just give some like history behind that?
Peter and Fleck, Peter and Fleck, the names. My girlfriend when I lived in England was Norwegian, and she would say these weird names I'd never heard before, and Pedo being one of them. She was like, you should name someone Pedo. And I was just like, and then Fleck is the Norwegian word for a spot, a tiny spot, like a fleck. Yeah, fleck. That's the word they use for like a polka dot would be a fleck or something. But so she gave me this box. It was a ring box. And she said, maybe you can make a puppet out of this. I don't know. And she thought the jaws on it, this little round ring box, I opened it up and there was the foam with the slice in it for the ring to sit in. And I took the foam out and there's another one underneath. And I was holding the foam and I just went like that. And I was like, oh my God. There were those two little mouths. And then Matt came to England.
Yeah, and then we're getting ready to... He's like, look at these little cool guys. And he's like, I want to call them Pedo and Fleck because he explained the story to me. And... like, what should they talk like? And we're like, well, first we crank the SPX 90, as we called our savior,
our dog,
which basically pitches your voice up a lot higher. And so we pitched the voice up really high, and we're kind of doing these little talks, and we're like, okay, let's just do it. And then Liam's just like, he has no idea what I'm going to do, but we knew he was going to be Pedo, and I would be Fleck.
And I'd introduce him, and I'd be like, hi, I'm Pedo, and this is my friend Fleck.
And all I could do is go,
because he didn't know what to say.
Because also it sounded so funny, because our voices are so high.
And then we started laughing.
And we just cracked up. And I was like, that's it, that's all Fleck will
like,
ever be able to say.
All he's ever allowed to say is guga or guga. And nothing else.
And then to have him to be like a hard drinking, like sex-crazed biker dude.
And it's so great not understanding him because then it's all up to like,
we set ourselves up really well because since that's all Fleck was ever going to say, we could just have Pedo say the most outrageous things.
Yeah.
So you could just be like, what did Fleck say to him?
That's funny. So that's the story of Pedo and Fleck. Is this even on? Am I coming through?
Not as loud, not as clear.
What channel are you on?
I don't even know anymore.
Whatever that one is.
Just scratch on it.
Check. Hello?
Siblings.
Check.
This, oh, that's
Hello.
why.
Hello?
Oh, I see the problem. Is it any better?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Just have to get up on it, dude.
Come on, get up on it. Okay.
Any other?
Our friend Chris Tench just walked in the room.
Zaffo in the
Zaffo's
first-
in the house. This is Chris Tench, who indeed is Zaffo, the all-knowing rock god. And grew up with Matt and I in Ohio, and then he and Mike and I were in a band together for many years. And he also did the voice on Squirrel Zappers. And in season 3, which you'll see tomorrow, he's the voice of Chester's imaginary friend Puddintane, who has convinced Chester that he he's is real and imaginary. Chester's the imaginary friend. So Chester thinks he's my Puddintane. Yeah. No one can see him. Well, nobody can see me but him. And he sings very well in that.
I have a question.
Okay.
When you were doing the puppeting, the thing that always got me is Matt would speak and, Sifl's part, and you'd go ahead. And how did you coordinate that? Because you always...
Well, we would do the whole season as a radio show. It was all recorded audio.
Okay.
So, and with sound effects and everything. And so we would do, record Chester for 3 days straight and record all the calls from public all at once. And then go to LA and we'd play it back. And I'd have 2 speakers, and Sifl would be panned hard left, and then Olly would be panned hard right in the speakers. And then there was the microphone like this, and the camera would be right here with the monitor, or with the lens over my shoulder. And then I would sit here like this, except this would be like here, with my face like right next to it. And then I would sit like I'm playing flute, like this. And the camera's here, and then I'd have a monitor of what it looked like right here, and I would sit like this. And then I had a bar that my elbows sat on, so that they had some height, and there was like a ground. And I'd sit there like that and do it all. And I just, when I started in England, Matt wasn't there, and I just started puppeting to it then, and it was this thing that just, it was a ridiculous thing that I actually got practice doing, like doing these, I don't know why I was doing it, but it was, I don't know, and I also know our rhythms of talking, because we've talked to each other our whole lives, and because you recorded it, you remember how you said it and everything.
Yeah, after writing and recording it and then hearing it about 20 times, he had a pretty good feel for
yeah,
it.
and so
Just what was going to be
there were
said.
some really hard things to puppet, because there'd be things where we were talking in very weird rhythms, or one of us Interrupting each other. laughing and one of us is like whistling, or if one of us is, there was one where like one of us was like chewing gum and one of us is like yodeling or something like so hard to do. I'm like, I can't do this. And then all the other ones were like single, like Chester would be a different set, and those people that would come in would be one. And then sometimes if we had scenes with lots of puppets, everybody else would put on puppets if there's like a mosh pit or dude's house or something like that.
And having to move one across the screen, like they could only go a certain direction because
Your arms can't
make them go.
Also, everything you do is reversed, because you're watching it and it's happening this way, and the camera's like reversing it. So your actions have to be like really opposite of what you think it's going to be, and you start thinking backwards when you're doing that. And also, a lot of stuff is done with sets for songs, like over my head backwards, and I'm looking down, the monitor's down here, and the camera's filming, and I just have to go like this, and I'm like facing the set, or I'm beat up under sets for like the Bowie song. I was literally like crammed under a table with my arm, like, because Olly comes up in an elevator and then he comes walking forward, and that was amazing set. But you have to
it's very uncomfortable.
Plus, Matt and I threw rocks at him the entire time.
And then there were the ants that they brought in. Thanks, guys. But yeah, that was the puppeting thing was very bizarre indeed. And by the end, I mean, it was like the writing would kill us mentally, and then it was such a assembly line, you know, and then we'd do the performing, and then that kills you just like emotionally, acting like all the characters and stuff, and then go to LA, and then for me it was just like, then I would be wrecked physically, because the puppeting it was like 12-hour days for 4 weeks every day, and you just, by the end, like, I literally, like, I had nights where I'd go home and I couldn't, like, open my hands, like, or play PlayStation. It broke my heart.
We have many a picture with him, like, have Sifl and Olly on his hands and a cigarette in her mouth, and like have someone come up and pull the cigarette. Yeah.
It was tough. Yeah. Okay, bye. Yes?
Yeah, I was talking to Michael about this at our little table earlier. I was just amazed at the amount of stuff you actually got on MTV. Like, the one that really stands out in my head is when you had the 2 burning seals, which you can tell is like you versus MTV.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was just wondering how that even got on there without them noticing, or like what kind of, you know, editing happens with them.
We're not allowed to say.
I mean, part of the same reason that the show isn't still on the air is some of the same reasons we were able to get away with so much, because they didn't really understand how to categorize the show, what to do with it. You know, like the line, I think I even heard this line, the line, "More gravy Cinderella." They're like, what? The standards are like, what does more gravy Cinderella mean? You know, because they're looking at must be something bad.
Yeah, the standards people would call, and the legal departments would call, and they would have to, before every show went on the air, we'd get a list of things if it was okayed by standards and practices and all that stuff. And you could tell that they were just like
confused.
They thought that something was bad was happening here, but they couldn't tell what it was. And it literally would be things like, oh, we couldn't say, they didn't want us to say the word, what was it, orphan?
Orphan, that's right.
And they
yeah.
didn't want us to say, pansy. The word pansy. You know, it's like, you obviously have been listening to the backmasking we've been putting into the programming. But it was like, they didn't know what to think of it because they didn't understand it. So we were pretty clear, you know, and then there was a lot of things where the smart people watching the show knew that we were just like, MTV. You know, so we but it was like, and we tried to get this, but believe it or not, a lot of the people that okayed that worked at MTV and were the same way, like, you know, trying to rebel against their own system, you know what I mean? Because the people we worked with at MTV were the very coolest people. They were the ones that got it on air, and you have to say something for MTV or those people that tried to get it on air, you know what I mean? And you know,
Julio would be in the back room, like, cutting deals with standards, you know, trying to, like, all right, we'll take out the MF here, and then we'll put in, you know, pansy here. He would just cut deals. He was like, all right, I got it on. We're like,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was weird. It was really weird. And then, like, songs, too, is the other thing, because we'd have to clear rights for some songs. We do a couple cover songs every season, and we'd have to get all those cleared, and we'd have to pick the songs and hunt down the publishing companies and do all that stuff. And for the pilot episode, we did...
we should save it as a surprise.
The surprise is seeing it and hearing it.
Yeah, okay.
We can show you tomorrow.
Here we go. This is going to give it all away.
Well, we did, you know... Don't you think so, though? Don't you think?
Maybe we should vote.
Jeez. Well, we'll show it to you tomorrow. How's that sound? And I'll tell you. It's not a big deal. We did more than a feeling.
Some people wanted a lot of money for...
More than a feeling, more than a... You know, and we did that song, and they
You wanted
for
like
the pilot.
$40,000.
They wanted $40,000 for us to use it, and we're like, and normally like a song to get the rights is like maybe between $500 and $1,000 for popular songs.
Whereas when we did Convoy,
Yeah,
I think they
Convoy.
wanted like $300 and or like even like a free dinner. Yeah, they want to do our songs.
But they, I mean, so more
Actually,
than a
the
feeling,
Blondie
they wouldn't let us
song was
put it on
really
TV.
inexpensive.
How much was Rocky Horror?
That wasn't very much.
That
I
wasn't
couldn't
very
believe it.
much.
$800.
Yeah, $800.
And Blondie Heart of Glass was even
Like
less
1,000
expensive. No,
or
it was like
$1,100?
$500.
Really?
Wow.
Don't feel the paper.
Yeah.
I think
it seems like
Chris
a general.
played guitar on that.
Yes,
Chris
he did.
he's the guitarist on that. He actually played guitar on
And
the Kiss
on-
song
and on
on
Blondie.
He played guitar
And on.
He
Touch,
was help.
Touch,
He'd help
Touch,
us do like a lot of the. He's great with guitar tones to get those.
Chris played on most of the covers,
like
actually.
Uh-huh.
I'd say.
You played on Hellfire, Rain on You too, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was vicious though. I was walking around the office screaming. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Oh man, I don't know. That was a good one though.
I heard Matt tell us, but probably everybody else wanted to hear like your favorites. What are your favorite like little sketches and favorite parts?
So many. I also have like all the Europe ones in my head. I do like 150 shorts. That a lot of the good ones we use.
But I told him that Grave for Baby. Yeah, Grave for Baby was one of the
That was just some
funniest, the longest
You
time
know
I
what it was like
cracked
to
up.
be there because it's exactly what it
Because you
sounds
hear the
like.
keyboard stuck on a note because I can't.
Oh my god!
I can't reach. And like
That's what it was
Liam's already like.
I'm on the floor.
He's already on the floor.
I was
I
laughing
usually
so
like
hard, I was
last about
crying.
4 more seconds than he does.
Oh, you sung more. I was crying. But I need more time to think. Okay. What other ones are your favorite ones?
I mentioned the Shaved Tigers.
That's another.
That's the same kind of can't. Stop
And you know what?
laughing.
The interview with Earth. Really good. You don't know how bad Mike had to be like our dad. Like
Yeah,
the whole thing.
he had to separate us.
cracked.
We couldn't even. It was like we were in math class again in
We
8th
couldn't
grade.
look at each other, or we
couldn't look at each other. It
And
was.
I'd have to leave the room. He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna say the line," and I'm like, and I'd be like, and I go through his mic, and then he's like, "Dude, you're gonna have to leave the room or whatever." And stuff. I'm like, "Okay," and then I'm like, it was like so cool. It was really funny. I was stuck in the basement.
It took like an hour and a half to get through it.
And what was it? It was you said so many weird things in that one.
Where
too.
are you
on me? like, where are you on me? Like that made me laugh so hard. And then also keep in mind you're in a basement for 3 months.
And this is the very
and we're
end.
just like
This was the
And also, my intention was to go do. I'm going to do something kind of like Sammy Davis Jr.
That was what the voice is supposed to be. Is that the?
And then it turned into.
And then that immediately got me laughing because I'm like, he's like, what kind of voice should I do? It didn't matter what I said; it was gonna come out like whatever he wants to do. Anyways, I'm like, I think you should do like a Sammy Davis voice for Earth. And so he's, I'm like, is that really what you think Sammy Davis Jr. sounds like? It was so far from it. And then this was like, and then I thought of the hat thing, and then I couldn't even be in the room with either of these guys. So I'm like, wait. He just has a big hat! And they're like, you can't do that. Actually, it started out being an interview with Mother Nature.
That's right.
And then we couldn't think of any jokes, and then it just became with Earth.
Yeah, we had to record it. We were out of time, and there was not much. There
We
was
really
like
literally
5
had
lines written.
an hour that we had to get it done, or we wouldn't get it done. And we were like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
And
I
I was
just-
just like,
Oh, I just said good.
This big hat.
Well, I said we got.
I made this big hat.
We got to those lines like. We got through that like 10 seconds at a time, and I got to that. Oh yeah, we'll check this shit out.
and then I'm dead immediately.
And then we're like, what is it? What are we gonna check out? And then he laughs for
I'm
like
laughing
5 minutes.
so
Can't
hard.
even say what he's thinking about. Like, what is it? What is it? It's a
And
hat.
he's like, it's a hat. I made this big hat. The fact that he has a cigarette in his mouth. He's like, do you know how hard it is finding cigarettes this big or something like that? Huge. A cigarette like the size of, like, Australia. Just jammed into the planet. Freaked out. And in the season 3, we did an interview with Uranus to add to the planets.
And Mike played Uranus. And then he played Earth, and then I was Mars. So we've each been a planet.
We've done planets.
Good. The Mars one was pretty good too. There was some good lines in that one. Yeah, he was so really scary. Like he really knew something. Like you guys are. I mean, he like Earth or Mars really.
He knew. Well, he knew
like
that
something
we were trying to
really
make fun of
big,
him.
Like there was, you guys used to live here a long time ago. It's like weird. Like, God, don't.
Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah, you'll see.
You'll see.
You're like, yeah. But Uranus one was equally funny because Matt kept saying lines that I couldn't. He's like, why are you so sensitive about your butt-ass name? Butt-ass name. And I'm like, you're what? And then because everything was funny. And Mike was great as Uranus, by the way.
I had a question. I was just wondering, how is Serena Ulschel's reaction, or was there any buzz around it?
I got an email from Serena.
Just sort of joke about her.
Well, I explained to one of the tables earlier about Serena Ulschel, and before Sifl and Olly was on TV, I never had cable, so I didn't know who Serena Ulschel was. And after the pilot was made, and John Miller, who's our boss and our great friend and helped with the show, he was trying to give little, clue us into little things so we could say that were more MTV-ish. And he's like, when we were talking about the news, he's like, you should have a crush on Serena Ulschel. I'm like, who?
He didn't even know who she was.
And then I saw her, I was like, okay. I do that. But the truth came out with Jacqueline Smith that following year.
Yeah, that's real. And Winona Ryder.
Olly.
We did meet Winona Ryder at a party.
I took a picture of.
She
wanted to take a picture of both. I was like, no. This is for you. I was like,
it was so
nice.
Take a picture. He was the ultimate dude because we hung out. We were with her in Green Day.
Yeah.
And
Billy
Joe. And we're all talking about Sifl and all hanging out and everything. And I'm like, I just want to say I'm sorry about our show. We kind of. Talk about you, and I kind of like, have a crush on you on the show. It's a show. And so we took a picture, and she kissed me, and I've got it blown up, hanging in my office. With me and Tori
in his bedroom, in the bathroom, and in the basement.
Yeah, and on my sheets.
In the crawl space.
Natural. She loves it. A big, full, ceiling-sized one.
Is Liam Lynch your real name?
Liam Lynch is a family name, but it's my grandfather is Liam Lynch. It's my mother's maiden name, and my name is Liam, but Lynch is my grandfather was Liam Lynch, and his grandfather was Liam Lynch, and so I've used it for about 11 years. What's your name?
It's still Derek.
Okay. Is it really Derek? Anything?
Oh, but
what
was Serena's reaction though?
Oh yeah, what was Serena's reaction?
She was cool. She was really cool. She wrote an email to me. She was like, yeah, I saw one on the show and thank you. And it's so hot in New York right now. I just don't know what to do. And it was really literally like that, like, that's it, I'm like, come on. Yeah, she was just like, it was so like,
check out Cass.
It wasn't anything big.
What did she think of Sifl, I wonder?
I don't even know. She
Did
didn't
she-
say.
did
She
she
just
find
like,
him attractive?
I heard about that. I heard about that you guys were doing something on that show. Thanks. What a
I
compliment.
bet she
And it
probably
was like
heard
that.
about it rather than even saw it.
Yeah, I think she probably just heard about it.
Yeah.
Because she's too busy.
I was thinking maybe she likes Sifl too.
She might. You never know.
We have another TV series.
Yeah. She didn't mention anything though.
There actually is the Sifl and Serena show spin-off coming on next season. You should all watch for
It's
that.
like Joni Loves Chachi.
Don Knotts guest star.
Yeah, as the wacky landlord. Yeah.
Oh, the landlord was a monkey.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Sure.
If you don't mind. I was just wondering, we've heard that Sean P. Hayes is a big fan. He's like the really only sort of celebrity fan that we've really heard about. Do you know about anybody other
You know what?
advocates of the show? Or
I was just telling, I was, from Will and Grace, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I was at a meeting at this place, Imagine, and I'm sitting in the lobby. And he was, he was going to be on the Rosie show.
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell. I don't know if everybody knows this or not. And they asked him, they wanted to give him a present, and they asked him what he would like. And he said, I'm a huge Sifl and Olly fan. So the Rosie show, MTV called and said, do you have some Sifl and Olly stuff you could send as a present for him whenever he comes on for Sean? And they gave, so I got hats, I wrote him a really nice letter and everything, and I mailed him to the Rosie show. And then the day he was on was the Columbine shootings. And Rosie was like, and she didn't give it to him on the show.
She did a cookie.
She didn't, yeah, I don't know what, yeah. So but it was, the whole mood was down and they didn't give it to him. And I thought, oh, I bet they never gave it to him. So literally 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting in this lobby, and he comes walking around the corner. And there's no one around, and I just stood there and I'm like, did you get my hats? and he gets all scared, and he thought I was like some weird fan. I'm like, I'm Liam Lynch, I made Sifl and Olly show, and I sent you hats. And he goes, ah! And he gave me a huge hug. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I smell like suntan lotion. Oh, no! And he was so nice. And I'm like, did you get that? He's like, yes, I got them. They gave them to me backstage, and thank you, and I still have the letter and everything. And he was just so totally cool. So we're hoping to all go to Will and Grace and get to meet everybody or something out of that. But
are there any other celebrity advocates or any sort of...
I know Portishead or...
Really? Oh my God,
yeah, Portishead are a big fan. I don't know.
J. Michael Straczynski is a huge fan.
I went to Babylon 5 set and met him, and did you? Oh, Julio went with me. Julio. Yeah. The dad of the little Julio. We went to Babylon 5 and I got to meet him, and he was he's gigantic. He's so huge. He's in the office writing, he's like icing his hands in buckets of ice, and he's just like, sci-fi! I'm taking pictures with space helmets and laser guns. I'm like, hey, And they're finally at the end of the tour of the sets. I get to meet him, and I'm outside his office, and they're like, shh, just keep it down. And he comes out, and the door opens up, and he's the same size as the opening of the door. He's like, gigantic. He's like Cheese Boy.
Yes. How come there aren't Sifl and Olly shirts?
There's gotta be. Well, there weren't because MTV wouldn't make them. They wouldn't do any merchandising at all.
But there's gonna be some.
Yeah.
Will you make girl shirts too?
Yeah, I'm gonna make girl baby tees with Chester on the front.
Yay!
I also want to make T-shirts.
Will it say rock on the back?
They might say support your local rock bands. Or they'll say no.
Or maybe not.
I want to do Pino with Fleck ones too, like a black here, just Pino here and Fleck here. Precious Roy, it says suckers on the back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another good.
Is that going to be through the website?
Yeah.
Liam, how was the sock campaign? I mean, they really...
We saw them.
Oh, we saw them all, yeah.
They did get the socks.
They went from New York all the way back out to LA.
They sent them back they got all piled up in New York, and they're like, you guys signed this show, you take the socks. And they sent them, and it was a gigantic box.
It was awesome.
Sock puppets.
There's some great ones in there.
There were so many, and so we were looking through, and they're like, we don't know what to do with all these socks. And I'm like, well, I'm going to take one home, and I pulled one puppet out of the box. It happened to be of Satan. And it was a tiny, but it was the cutest. It was obviously made by a girl because it was like a cutesy pie Satan. Remember that? And so then we're doing season 3, and we work with New Tech, the company that Patty and Mike make the computer backgrounds for the show. And the president of New Tech came to the filming for like 3 days, and he brought his daughters and their friends. So they were sitting there the whole time I was puppeting. There's these 4 or 5 teenage girls sitting there behind them. And we're talking about the socks and everything like that. And they're like, we mailed some too and everything. And here, the one that I had chosen was the girl that was there. It was so random. She's like, oh my god! And it was just insane coincidence. But I only took one. And they're like, what's it look like? I said it was a little devil with a little tail and made out of pipe cleaner horns. And she's like, I couldn't believe it myself, like, because there were hundreds and hundreds, and I ended up meeting the person that made the one that I took. Here. Yes?
How old is Sifl and Olly in your mind?
That's a good question. How old are they in your mind?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I wondered, because I could never put an age to it.
We never put a time, ever used any sort of time measurement to kind of keep them as ageless. So when we wrote around them, we just made sure that there was never any point of like reference as far as a certain year. So they were just kind of always there. My God.
I mean, they're like.
Chopper bikes. I mean, I'm old, and those chopper bikes. I remember when I was.
Okay, those are
young.
bad. My dad had a chopper.
I'm not that old.
It's true. But yeah, I mean,
I guess they're
a lot of age
kind of our
groups,
age, but I mean
you get like
we're our age, but we're as childish as can be, and just our friend. I'm 12.
I'll be 31 on September 5th. It is?
Yeah.
Tell him I said happy birthday.
We're all 3:30. We're 90
I'm
altogether.
old. I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
I'm the oldest.
He's the oldest by
Chris and
6
I's
months.
birthdays are very close. We're both Virgos. He's September 3rd. Really? September's? You know what? They say that Virgos only get along with Virgos.
Libras are better.
No, they get along with Scorpios.
That's what a Libra would say. Typical Libra. Astrology so true.
Dr. Glenn's got a question.
On the age thing, as far as the age thing goes, then, how can we explain how Sifl is Olly's father?
You know what? That was just Star Wars, man.
Yeah.
We were talking about that too. It's like, how do you explain that? You know what I mean?
Of Star Wars.
Hey,
Yeah,
speaking of Star Wars,
Bernard
here comes
Stockman.
the writer of Star Worlds. This is our friend Ben Clayton, who did the voice. He's the voice of
Bernard Stockman.
He did, yes,
And
Bernard
Tiger
Stockman.
Woods.
He's also the starting center on the Sifl and Olly basketball team.
Yes.
And he did the voice of Brett the Gremlin. He did the voice
Hey, the
of
Gremlin and Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods, the Kiss drummer, and Bernard Stockman. Did you do any others? I can't remember what other ones you did. Did you do any others?
Not on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe in the room. But you did have the funniest thing with Bernard Stockman, which was when you just did the yes.
Yes.
Wait, say it. What? Oh, here.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Yes.
No.
That was awesome. Yeah, I know. Broadway production.
Do you guys keep all the puppets that you use?
They have them all in
Yeah, they're all
storage.
in
There's
LA. Liam has Sifl and Olly in Chester.
Like you never throw any of them away?
No,
Oh, no.
no.
Nothing's been thrown away. All the little sets and gadgets and
Well, what about the peas?
disco
Did they,
balls.
rot?
Those
Some
are
things,
away.
yeah, a couple things we did get rid of.
The
I
lima
guess.
beans.
The lima beans.
Kiki and the pee-pee gang.
What was the jerky stuff made out of?
Instant jerky? It was jerky.
No, the liquid. That's the stuff that
Oh,
turns.
the instant jerky. But yeah, the jerky.
It's like water and food coloring, I think. Just
It was kind of
tasty.
I don't know. You're right. No, it was something.
and gravy.
Okay.
It might have been gravy.
Instant jerky.
Yeah.
We thought of so many. We would just sit for hours and hours thinking of what products could possibly be a.
I brought a list
Precious
of
Roy
some
products.
that didn't make it to read again.
So why did Olly have that nervous breakdown? I mean, it
Which
was like
one?
he wasn't.
The Precious Roy one, I think, right?
No, Olly had a nervous breakdown. He just got
I
more
think-
and more.
Well, I was just talking about that table, which is, whenever we record these, they would be all, we would have like 2 days to do Precious Roys, and we'd do Precious Roys straight. We'd record all of them at once. We'd record all the Chesters. We'd have a Chester day or two where we'd just try to get all these Chesters in. We'd have to do 80 Chester segments in 2 days. And
It just kind of happened. I mean,
But
we
for
started
me,
out doing it just
selling,
like.
It started off, like, first season we didn't know that I was going to go nuts. But it's like, since we had to do them all in one day, it's like just the constant selling and that song going on and on. Like, it literally, I was starting to go crazy. And we're like, you know what? You're starting to amp. Mike's job is like just watching our performances, because sometimes when it's just like friends being funny with friends, you don't know if it's going to be funny to other people. So he was like the judge of what's funny to other people and what's just like you have to be in the room to think that's funny. And so Mike was like, I was starting to amp up more and more as the season, when, the season starts at breakfast, and by lunch that day we're at the middle of the season, and he could tell, and I'm like, you know what, you should just go through the roof, like just keep getting worse, and then over the season you'll just degrade like madly. And so then when we got a season 2, because we didn't know if we'd get a season 2, and when we did, it was like, okay, now I've got to start off already wrecked. And by the end of season 2, Olly is like,
which is when we called in the Dr. Vernon Marble.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we invented. That's right. And he's the doctor. He's Dr. Vernon Marble, because it's like by the end he has to have like, I mean, that was bad. It was pretty fun. And you know what? We did, when we did season 3, we were supposed to do a big body of work, and they cut it in half. And we ended up writing more material than we were supposed to do. Or we ended up writing more than we ended up using. And what we were going to do is, we had this big storyline we were going to do where Olly gets thrown in a mental institution. And one of the precious stories was going to be Sifl doing the actual product and doing like a really great job, and people like loving him, and everybody really getting along with him. And he's like, hey, great, and it's like, I'm glad I could help you out. Like really nice. And Olly's in a mental ward, and padded, and he's wrapped up in like a straitjacket. He's like, and then he like goes crazy, and he's just really calm, And the nurse comes over and gives him his medicine. And he's trying to sell the whole situation as a product. And she's, Precious Roy's on the TV, and she's watching Sifl. And she's just, he starts, shaking, and she's like, oh, you won't get out of there. It's a Precious Roy straitjacket. It's a top quality. He's like, and how was the price? And she's like, oh, really affordable. I was able to buy 2 and put 2 on you. And he's like, I mean, there's another one on under here. And
all of this, of course, and Olly doesn't have arms.
Yeah, exactly. Which is very, we've done weirder. But then in the end, he's like, she ends up saying something. He's like, next caller! And she's just sitting there, and there's this moment of her just looking at him like, there's no caller. And she's like, you can't make calls until you stop biting people.
Did this get filmed, or was it?
No, it never got filmed.
Not even recorded, just written.
Yeah, that was
it. It was just filmed.
One of my favorites is the whole Champs 1 team, that whole thing you did. What's the deal with them calling out Calamity, Mad Dibbit?
Ask him. It's all ad-libbed. 100% ad-libbed.
Well, some of the later ones we wrote out a little bit, but Champs 1 started once again giving credit to...
Manabidge?
Yeah.
Mad Dibbit, yeah.
That's what we said.
Once again giving credit to Brian Harden, who's not here. We're like sitting here, and he gives me this, he just hands me this microphone, and it, it's like, it turns on like that. I was like, oh, this is great. I was like, Tramps, and then it was like, and it's very distorted, and it just, turning it off, I just decided that...
He was talking through a keyboard that had an amp simulator.
Yeah, actually through a keyboard. And then it just kind of, like...
It started as an improv, and those were on the Europe episodes, which we'll watch some of them. There's like 3 Champs 1 from the Europe episodes, and that's how it started anyways. But they were just us talking, and Matt started being this guy, and we obviously realized, okay, this is some sort of transmission.
Yeah,
because,
right. I mean, I just started doing the voice, but that's how we work, is that he immediately starts talking to me in this character that
just like,
no one's ever heard
is,
before.
I'm gonna meet him.
I'll be
You know what I mean? And so he ended up saying, like, we just battled Planet Zargon with cheese sauces. Or something like that. It was so funny. That's one of my favorites, too. And I made that helmet for that guy when I was in England. I remember, like, going to toy stores and looking. It's a speaker for a computer. And I bought this cheap little speaker set for computers and took the front off, and then went to a gumball machine that had these huge gumball things, toys, and took the plastic thing off and put it on the front of the speaker for his little helmet.
Okay.
Can you explain how you came up with Precious Roy's name?
You'll see his name. I have no idea how I came up with his name.
It literally is the voice. Matt
was
did
the
that voice.
It was more just that voice made me say precious. And we were doing these things, you'll see him on the European shorts, where
Precious started out over there, but not as a sales.
he was just kind of this guy that would trick Ollie, like in the
And say
lamest
suckers.
way, and say suckers, you know?
And it was always we would always do these reenactments of like passages from war books. It's like, and now, Soldiers at the Gates of Dawn, chapter 624. Precious Roy is cornered by dogs.
And it's like, these dogs are everywhere!
I'm like, Precious, what are you going to do? These dogs are surely going to eat you and kill you.
And then it was like, good thing they're mine! Suckers! And then we just did all these, and there's something so funny about the name Precious Roy.
Yeah, like, he's so
It's
not
like,
precious.
and he always, and then Ollie would always be like, oh, you got us again. All sarcastically.
Precious, you got us again.
What can you tell us about the filming of the X and O show?
Yeah. That was some sick stuff.
That was fun. I thought the funnest thing in the world was when he played the metal guitars in the background.
Yeah, we're just sitting downstairs and trying to come up with the most evil, hardcore music.
I cut that voice. My only claim to that I'm proud of is doing that, you one sick mother! It's actually just like Pedo and Fleck, because we pitched our voices, so that it's like an evil Pedo and Fleck voice.
And Blister.
That was
Blister
incredible.
instead of Chester.
Blister and Vicious Coy.
Vicious Coy. And Coy's
And we
one
were
of our
selling, what were we
friends.
selling, like Rock Death or something? It was just a skull or something. It was like $666 or something like that. It was so. That was just
That was just wild. That was wild.
Did like the Pets.com dog have anything to do with that? Like, did people copying off us or something?
Wait, he said the horror. He said the horror.
Oh, the horror.
Yeah, with the sock, the socks.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, like on the mantelpiece, and he said the horror.
We just saw that ad for the Woody, for that Boy in the Bubble movie.
yeah.
It looked like a Woody Wilson thing, too.
A lot like it.
But,
They bitch.
yeah, X and O was awesome. It was just, I guess, you know what kind of is like that is the Sifl and Olly meet the other Sifl and Olly.
Right,
Where
the
it's exactly
parallel
the
world.
same, they just stand on different sides of the microphone.
Satellite link.
Yeah,
the
yeah, it was like the
satellite
alternative
link to ourselves.
That was the
Show
hardest thing I
waiting
ever
when
had
the
to
show
puppet.
beeps in.
That was the hardest thing to puppet because there were
Four
four
voices.
voices of our same ones. To know like which ones, because I had to do them in two different sets. That was really, and it was all happening at once. Yeah, it was all happening at once. But I think that kind of led into like alternate
like,
versions of the show, like other versions.
Didn't you have one of the episodes with an interview with the battery?
The robot episode.
The 9-volt battery.
The voice.
Of the robot?
It's me.
It's me, but
he's
I'm
playing a
playing-
keyboard.
It's like you need to talk into a microphone through a keyboard, and in order to make your voice come out, you need to play a note. So that's why.
So when we
this
sung
is
"I Know What
you,
Boys
you.
Like" at the
Oh,
end,
yeah.
he was actually playing it on da 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 da. He was playing the keyboard, and then I was saying, "I know what boys like." I know. It wouldn't matter what note I would say it in; it would come out.
He
in
just
the
taught, yeah, and that's why he goes,
key of-
I know what boy, you know.
So we were trying to make it
higher.
And
So you
that's,
can
and
hear
then,
when
but
it-
then but other things were our laptops, our Mac.
Just the robot voice,
Like-
like,
no, like the
Jessica,
Jessica
Edwards.
Spelling bee.
Where's that being so
Where who?
with the robot when the robot was there?
Where did Sybil go? He just had
Out in the
stuff to
ocean
do.
with the babe.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in the ocean. That was just the end of the day,
Day
though.
off and made a robot to fill in for him.
He's like, I just needed one of the. I just need
a day.
I just need a day to get all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
done.
Don't you have to be somewhere?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm just gonna ask, like, what's up with the rock backs, like every other one being about Bjork?
That just turned it. You know what? The rock facts were forced upon us.
Really,
by
struggled with
MTV,
those.
and we begged not to do that. We hated it. It was the worst experience ever. They forced us to do that, and we didn't want to do it. But they wanted us. They're like, no one will watch your show if you don't have a question before the commercial and the answer afterwards. And they're like, and do rock facts. And then
Well,
we're like, all
originally
right.
it was
So we made a bunch of them. And
Science facts too.
Yeah,
We had
Science
done
Facts was the original
Science
one.
facts, and then they're like, we need something more rock.
It needs to be
How
rock.
about
But here's the
rock
thing.
facts?
Then they said, they're like, we would come up with a funny answer, and they're like, legally we can't do that. So that's why every single one has to say, this is not true.
Yeah.
This is so not true.
Yeah.
This is legally not true.
And
like,
some
and we were
artists were-
like, oh god.
And some artists were out of bounds.
For Precious Royce?
What's that?
So that was
Yeah, that's-
the disclaimer.
Oh,
for
not
Of course
really.
we
kinda
wanted to
wanted
do that
that.
just
We
so.
wanted that.
Were any of the answers true?
No.
The rock X? Except for the Jamiroquai CD one.
Yeah. If you eat a Jamiroquai CD, you will
You will
die.
So when it
Oh, what was the other one? Oh yeah, you're right.
Liquid paper, the whiteout.
That's right.
But what was the thing about the Beastie Boys playing Badass Mitten?
Badass Mitten.
And the Pope's hat
The
was
Pope
a CD
secretly
changer.
listens to. That might be true.
So Matt and I did those, and we were like sitting in the basement by ourselves. We had got done with everything. The guy was coming to pick us up to take us to California, and we had to get these done before we flew out. We had to leave and arrive with all the audio. And we were just sitting in this basement with these lists, looking at each other like, well, you ready? He's like, yeah, we're so tired. We just done the audio for the whole season.
Just do another Bjork one.
Yeah, it's just a Bjork one. And like, so it was just like, we kept like throwing that Bjork thing in to just entertain ourselves because we were so tired and we were so brain dead by that point.
Let's go back. Right behind you.
Red.
We'll come right up.
Did you ever get a reaction from Björk from like doing the impression or?
I sent,
He sent
on
a song.
Fake Songs, I did a Bjork impression song, and they, my ex-girlfriend that's Norwegian is a musician, and she's actually, her new boyfriend is Icelandic, and so she's in Iceland, and she's been working with the guys from the Sugar Cubes, and they've been producing her solo demos. So I sent her a copy of my Bjork song that she gave to them to give Bjork, and apparently it was given to Bjork, but I haven't heard anything back, so I have no clue. But I did slingshot one out into the world towards her, so hopefully she'll get it someday and be like, what the hell is it? Someone put it up on Napster as a rare B-side or something, didn't they? And it was called, did you I heard that it was, I saw it on there and it was called like Born in a Suitcase? And I say, or I was born in a city or something like that, and I think they think when I said city, they think I said suitcase.
Suitcase.
Right.
Since we've learned so far that like a lot of the names and stuff from people you knew, whatever. But how about personality traits? Like, did you know like a Bird Cody somewhere?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we knew Cody.
And Crescent Fresh.
And Crescent Fresh.
Yeah, where's that from?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Crescent Fresh is just kind of a surfer dude that the original line was just like, I think we're all gonna ride Crescent Fresh from here on out. And it was just everyone was like, what is Crescent Fresh? I'm like, I don't know, it just means Crescent Fresh, So and then we're all like, oh yeah, okay.
And we're like, then only the cool people on the show can say it.
So we just kind of decided, do we turn this weird word into like a new catchphrase? Let's make it.
Sifl and Olly didn't really say it.
Social engineering.
Originally, yeah, Sifl and Olly didn't get it until
it totally
the
worked.
song.
We were very attentive to the fact that we were going to make sure that it was said at the right point, the right time.
But by the right people, like the dude, would be like.
And Chester too, because Chester would figure out about it, and then Sifl like
he would attempt.
Sifl and I'd be like, where did you learn that word from? Like, who are you hanging? Who you hang out with? Like Cody? You're like, don't hang out with Cody.
Don't hang out with Cody. It's bad news.
But
man.
Chester's so impressionable that
he gets chicks.
He gets chicks.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sparkly dresses.
Sparkly.
They like pool. They talk about 8 balls.
Yep.
Did you ever give any of the tributes to anybody else? I think you might have given one to David Bowie, didn't you?
To the what?
Any of those tribute songs to anybody else?
No, I've never given another one. No, and somebody asked me that. I've never sent that to him. But I got an email from Mick Ronson's wife saying how happy it made her because the guitar tones sounded like her husband, who's passed away. He was Ziggy Stardust's guitar player, like Bowie's guitarist. He played all those songs. And I was like, wow. But I never, I haven't tried. I'd like to get one to him, obviously. Back.
I forgot what the heck I was going to say. Oh yeah, I noticed that Sifl never ever really talks to Chester. He's like afraid.
so
Was
interesting.
that planned or?
Well, it's because Matt does the voice of Chester originally.
Yeah, and also, actually, originally I was explaining that when Chester was first introduced, Ollie would say, "We're going to talk to Chester now. He's one of Sifl's friends."
It would
And it was
always
just
be
kind of
that.
like a joke that Sifl and Chester are friends, but they don't talk to each other.
Like, it's the weirdest relationship between those two, because you can tell, especially the one where they're left alone.
Yeah.
Because they're just so, you know, like
Sifl just doesn't care.
He
and
just stares at
Chester's
him, too.
like thinking he's
he just can't believe it. And then Ollie's left, like, you know, Ollie doesn't really want to talk.
He's
to
just doing a
Chester,
favor for
Sifl's
Sifl.
friend. But, like, poor Chester, he's a cross between, like, a friend and a pet. You know what I mean? It is the weirdest relationship, and we've talked about that so much. It's just like, what can we do and what can't we do? And that's why we did in season 2.
We were so excited
had
living
fun
in the
with
same
that.
room together.
And also the idea of, like, breaking the spaces, like Chester coming into Sifl and Ollie's space. Like, that's some no. You know, like, you cannot talk on this mic. Go back to the curtain room. You know what I mean? It's like and like when he would get in on that mic and like do a
we
little
did his
show.
own late night show.
He's mischievous. It's funny.
I have a question about the puppeting on some of the videos that you did. Was I seeing things, or were you guys making fun of some of those videos that you had to?
You know what? I never knew what videos they were in front of. I just when we got done before we finished, we have a blue screen on the wall. I just did random things with the puppets in front of blue screen, and then they used those. And when they edited the videos in,
Lay on
they
top.
would just lay whatever on. So I never knew what it was going to be, and I never saw what videos they were going to go over. Well, that's like editors with a sense
because
of humor.
when we were making them and Liam was doing the puppeting, we were kind of like, leave them to the side, let them thinking of how they might react with a music video.
Like, what if there was a cute girl? What would Chester be doing right now on the screen? Or because you know there's going to be some girl in a bikini in a music video. Like Chester would be like.
And adding the music videos was kind of almost after the fact. We hadn't really planned on. We didn't really know that was going to be something that they were going to do. So we're trying to keep Sifl and Ollie in screen so that people remember that they're watching the Sifl and Ollie was also really important. But videos didn't.
We didn't get to pick the videos we tried, and we wanted to play like weird videos and like a really awkwardly changing genres and styles, because then it wouldn't have been so bad when they did that in the beginning. But it's just better without them. It's not better without them. I wanted to have like Black Sabbath videos.
And the Who and like
weird, just like. Is this Closet Classics?
Yeah, Closet Classics.
Questions after, so you're next.
That's fine. No, it's fine.
Question?
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask the question I was going to before, but what's like the whole story behind the panda?
And the mystery.
It's Tilly the guy. Like, whenever I made all the original characters, like the main characters, but then when we did the show, there'd be so many, so we had an art team of just people, like 4 people, puppets. They have to make 250 puppets, right?
Just about, yeah.
And I stole for a second, because I have to be puppeting the whole times, and these guys would be directing and running stuff, and I went into the puppet making room, and I made that guy. And off a panda's head, and I skinned his head and put it over this guy's stuck eyes to hold it on, and I'm like, this dude has a panda helmet. And like, when I made him talk, he was so like he didn't have
He was just a head, so like
his
he
head
was
was
really
just shoulders.
He moved so awkwardly just because there was no body in frame. It was just the head.
Yeah. So from
and also
that,
the voice of Deuce Loosely, which was his first little role that Liam did. It just it was perfect. And then when he was doing the shaking that panda, we were just all.
It was so funny. He moved so funny, and that voice coming out of that dude, it was so soon, because I was, a month before I ever made the puppet, so it was kind of like a lucky chance. But when they came together, boy, they came. Obviously, a man obsessed with the panda. The panda. It's so funny. That
this dude's been like.
Yeah.
I was just my absolute favorite thing is Pat Lacey, the origin of that character.
That's from Europe again.
I think Pat Lacey may have been one of those. Oh no, I was explaining to them about interviews that led up to a lot of this Sifl and Olly, and where we record a whole track by ourselves. In other words, I would go hit record and do a whole interview. Hi, I'm Bob, and today my guest is Jim. Hey, Jim. And I'll wait a second, and then I'm like, oh, that's great, Jim. Where are you from? Oh, that's horrible, that place. And then Liam would come back in and listen to the earphones, and he would hear what I just said, and he would answer.
But we would often do the opposite, where the person does either spaces, and I'd come in and I'd just have to sit down and I'd spaces, and then I'd give answers. I would just say 27. Yeah, the marshmallow on the edges, but the center's not marshmallow. And then I could all these things, and then he would come in and he'd ask me questions. How big? What was it like growing up? Underwater? 27. Yeah. How? What's your? What do you do for a living? Marshmallow. So like we would do it's like Mad Libs but with audio. Like these reverse things, and a lot of weird stuff came out of that, obviously.
And just kind of how we would talk. And then Pat Lacey was just kind of that thing where all of a sudden one of us would take on the interview role. I just took on the interview role, and I'm like, hey, today we have a very special inventor, Pat. Hey, Pat.
I did that. I invented velvet. That's how it all started. Was the guy that invented velvet, but then it went overboard, obviously. And those were on the Europe episodes, which I think tomorrow, the very first ones, but some of the original audio was used in season 1. Needed more material.
Were you allowed to be more risque in Europe than you were in the US?
We were allowed to be
weirder.
They made us, you need ha-has. I'm not getting ha-has. And, which is good. It made it more funny across the board. But we could be, literally, like the episodes that ran in Europe, one of the ones that ran was literally, like, Sifl leaning on the mic, just like leaning there, and Olly, like, going, not saying anything. And it was just like this short, you're watching two puppets thinking and not even talking to her. You know what I mean? So they're talking and they're just like hanging out, and then it goes on for like a minute and a half, and you can tell they're really like thinking about something, and I'm thinking about something. I was like, do you want to go to the park? And he goes, no. And that's the episode. There was one where he's just whistling.
Well, Dear Brenda is actually something from
Brenda was from
episodes. I mean, what would you do if you just turned that on TV? You're like, what?
Dear Brenda.
That's just in the Casio.
I know what you mean by that, though. It's like the weird. It's the way he talks. It does sound like a Superman. You're right.
Oh yeah, and we used to listen to that song all the time because his parents had it at home.
And also that repeating of words like that, really hypnotic.
I'm sure it's somehow influenced by that. But
I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah. I have some European question.
Bagels or croissants.
Flat Eric, is he a commercial response to Sifl and Olly?
I have no idea, but it did start in. But I don't know. It depends on if somebody saw that and thought, you know what, puppet's coming back, which they kind of did for a while. I don't know. I thought it was a cool puppet. No, I just saw that puppet at Henson too. It was a Henson puppet, but I don't know.
Was
Good question.
Pets.com a response to Sifl?
I have no idea.
Totally.
Well, Pets.com, of course, they said Conan O'Brien was really upset.
We have the same lawyer as the guy that does like TV Funhouse and and he does that dog on Triumph on Conan, and he was the one that was really angry.
They tried to bring a lawsuit out of it.
And they fighting. I mean, he was coming on TV talking about it and stuff like that, but
No,
they just kept those. And I didn't think about that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's talking about Sifl and Olly. But then I saw a thing that he played on TV where he showed that Pets.com. They exactly copied, exact footage, exact everything. I couldn't believe it. I feel like they did actually copy him and not us. The only thing I ever thought that's like Sifl and Olly was where he was singing and then he goes real falsetto sings
night.
that.
Goes up.
Is that what he sings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the horror. That's
yeah.
so.
It's a. I guess they're out of business. We're at a
That'll
convention.
teach them.
Yeah.
A philosophical question.
Yeah.
I loaned my tape out first season 1 to a friend of mine, and he used it.
Awesome.
What is the Sifl of Olly over women?
I've never had.
I don't know. It has an effect on us.
Olly.
It's Chester,
Do you have his number?
the sock?
I've never. Because it's not like someone's gonna recognize. They're gonna think I'm a skinny geek.